All right, let's pull back the curtain on the financial system. We're going to get into the stuff that banks really don't advertise, the quiet mechanics they use to manage and, yeah, profit from your money every single day. You know that feeling? You work hard, you try to save, but it just feels like you're always one step behind. Like the whole game is somehow rigged. Well, guess what? That feeling isn't just in your head. The financial system really does operate on a set of rules most of us were never taught, and that is definitely not an accident. But that all changes right now. Consider this your copy of that hidden rulebook. We're going to walk through the most important pages so you can finally start playing the game on your own terms. First up, let's tackle the biggest illusion of them all. Where does money actually come from? And here's a spoiler for you. It's probably not where you think. It's not really from a government printing press. It all starts with this idea called fractional reserve banking. See, when you deposit your money, the bank doesn't just stick it in a vault with your name on it. Nope, they're only required to keep a tiny piece of it, a fraction. The rest? They lend it out. And this is where things get kind of wild. Let's just follow the money for a second. Say you deposit $1,000. The bank keeps 100 and lends out 900 to someone else. That person then deposits the 900, and their bank keeps 90 and lends out 810. You see what's happening? It's a ripple effect that just keeps going. And here's the punchline. Your original $1,000 deposit, it doesn't just sit there. Through this whole cycle, it can actually create up to $10,000 of new money in the economy. Banks literally create money out of debt, and we pay them interest for it. This points to a really fundamental and kind of shocking truth about our economy. If every single person paid off all their debts tomorrow, poof, the money supply would practically vanish. In our system, for the most part, money is debt. Okay, so what's the catch? Well, that brings us to the next piece of the puzzle. There's a built-in feature of this system that quietly eats away at your savings. You know it as inflation, but let's call it what it really is, a silent tax. So you're doing the right thing, right? You put money in a savings account, maybe you earn, 1.5%. But if inflation is running at 6%, you're not gaining money. You're actually losing 4.5% of your buying power every single year. The number in your account goes up, but what it can actually buy goes down. This creates a very clear set of winners and losers. If you're a saver holding cash, you lose. But if you're a debtor, you win. That big mortgage you took out years ago, you get to pay it back with future, cheaper dollars. If you own assets like real estate or stocks, you win. Don't get it twisted. Inflation is a massive transfer of wealth. So how do banks really cash in on this system? Well, that brings us to their masterpiece of financial engineering, the credit card. It's so much more than just a piece of plastic. It's a tool designed with a deep, deep understanding of human psychology. Just look at this. You've got $5,000 in debt at a pretty typical interest rate. If you only pay that little minimum payment, you'll be in debt for over 20 years, and you'll pay more in interest than you originally borrowed. But look at the difference if you just decide to pay a fixed amount. You're out of debt in about 2 years, and you save nearly $9,000. The difference is staggering. And that minimum payment on your statement, it's not a helpful suggestion. It's a trap. It's what's known as a psychological anchor. It makes that tiny payment seem reasonable, which keeps you stuck in a cycle of debt that is incredibly profitable for the bank. It's a feature, not a bug. Okay, so we've seen the traps. It's easy to feel a little discouraged, but don't be. Now let's talk about the escape plan. The good news is it's not super complicated, but it does require you to start thinking a little differently. Honestly, it all boils down to these 3 simple but powerful moves. First, you've got to spend less than you make. Period. That creates a gap. Second, you take that gap and you wage war on your most expensive debt. That's almost always credit cards. And third, you start putting your money to work for you by investing it consistently. So what does investing consistently actually look like? Well, check this out. Let's say you start at age 25, just $200 a month. By the time you're ready to retire, you could have over $700,000. And the best part, the vast majority of that is growth. It's your money making more money. That is the magic of compounding. But now look what happens if you wait. Same exact strategy, same $200 a month, but you start just 10 years later. The final result is less than half. That 1 decade of delay costs you almost $400,000 in future wealth.
This is proof that when it comes to building wealth, time is way more powerful than money. All right, this brings us to the last and maybe the most important piece of the whole puzzle. You can have all the right strategies, but they're all powered by one thing: a fundamental shift in how you think about money, the investor's mindset.
For most people, almost all their income comes from their salary. You're trading your time for money. But look at how the wealthy do it. The majority of their income comes from assets they own: stocks, businesses, real estate. Their money is doing the work, not their time.
And get this, the system is actually designed to encourage this. In most places, the money you make from your job is taxed at a much higher rate than money you make from long-term investments. That is not a loophole. It's a deliberate feature designed to incentivize people to become owners.
So, this is it. This is the big shift in thinking. You have to go from only being a worker and a consumer to also becoming an owner and an investor. You have to get to a point where your money is working for you so that one day you don't have to. By understanding this stuff, how money is created, how inflation is a wealth transfer, the psychology of debt, the power of investing, you've just armed yourself with knowledge that the vast majority of people simply don't have. This is your edge. Look, the financial system isn't good or bad. It's just a game with a very clear set of rules. And now you've got the rulebook. So the only question left is, what's your first move going to be?